here we go again. It's Sunday night, time for another live stream. A little bit white tonight. Haven't adjusted any settings, to be honest with you. Hope you are well. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope you've been busy in the garden and enjoying yourselves. Bank holiday weekend, of course, so it means we've got, or many of us anyway, an extra day of gardening or enjoying ourselves tomorrow as well. Let's hope you all make the most of it. Now, tonight I'm going to be talking about AI and gardening. AI is a really hot topic at the moment. I'll admit I'm not exactly a fan of AI, but I think we do need to keep on top of these things in order to move with the times. But that's coming up in just a moment. First of all, let's see if anybody is actually out there. And yeah, Adrian is out there saying, hi, Richard and all. Hello to you. We've got Stuart Jackson saying, evening, Richard and the Veg Army. Hope everyone is well. Hope you are well too. Turbo Stream, good evening, Veg Podcasters. Still windy here in Birmingham. It's been windy here in Sussex as well, funnily enough. We have got Hargrave Gas. Evening, everyone. Hope you've had a great week. I'm still in post-holiday mode, struggling to get stuff sorted. Really must try harder. It happens though, doesn't it? We are in that summer period, and I feel August is a particularly difficult month to find motivation. Scott is there saying, good evening all, good evening to you. We've got good evening gardeners from Anna Jones, and Money Boot says, good evening all. And Digwell says, good evening to the Veg Grower Army in Malay this week. Salamat Patong Kapacha Tatara Panananium Saronium. I think I pronounced that exactly right, and I won't hear anything that says less. Let's have a check on Instagram. Nothing over there at the moment, but I'm sure we will in the future. If you are watching, please do feel free to say hello. If you're watching in a Facebook group, I may not see it just because of the way Facebook works. So AI and gardening, let's get into it. Does everybody know what AI is? It's certainly a very hot topic. It's certainly something that's doing a lot of the rounds at the moment. A lot of people talking about it. I've dabbled in AI quite a bit, in all honesty. As a content creator, I'm finding it incredibly interesting what AI can do. Help me with my time. There's a huge wide range of reasons that AI is going to benefit us. But can it help the garden? That's something that I really want to find out tonight. I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay, and there's no problem with that. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. I did check the microphone before we started. Now, AI, artificial intelligence. Really is amazing what people are doing with AI. People were using it to write entire thesis on certain subjects, research certain subjects, find out about lots and of other things like that. Huge wide range of subjects. Now, Digwell, he says, oh, shoot, I thought it was about using Al in the garden. I better send him home. Well, is Al any good at AI? He might still be useful. Bello says, can AI help with the ivy? Pulling as much fence out with it as I try to get rid myself of it. So this is an interesting question that, I know Beddoes is trying to be funny by talking about this, but I see in the future that it's certainly possible that there's going to be little robots. It's scary at the same time, but robots that can help with things like weeding or pulling weeds out. It'll probably have a little camera on it that can detect what's a weed and what's not a weed and go along and control this robot and take out certain things. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day about cameras, and there's this new camera out designed for sports photography, but the AI in it can actually track certain players that you program into it. It can track to focus on the ball, what's around the ball. So incorporating that into what I'm talking about, this sort of AI robot weeder machine, I think there's something in it. I think there's definitely something that is going to be there in the future. And it can help, and it can certainly help. Dad is joined. Good evening, Dad. Hope you are well. Richard Golden has joined. Hello, all. Good evening to you. Turbo Stream says, I'm not sure I'm keen on AI. Sure, it's a good thing in certain circumstances, but then all generations before us had a distrust of new things. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with what you're saying. There was people who were distrustful of things like combine harvesters, lawnmowers, and things like that. And as technology has evolved and more people have got these things, the technology has proven that it's actually quite good. And AI is just going to be this next step on what happens. Rebecca has joined. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. We're talking about AI tonight and gardening. So if you've got any thoughts on that, then please let us know. Now, as I said, this AI robot that I've just talked about, it's not about at the moment. As far as I'm aware, anyway, I don't think it's there at the moment. So could it change? Could it be what can we do with AI at the moment? Beto says, have to say my iPad follows me if I move when on a video call. Tracking. This is the point. But how can that help in the garden? This is, or what? Where could this become in our gardening? That's what I want to find out. Richard Golding is saying Luddites. Is that about AI? You against AI or you for AI? Turbo Stream says, having said that, I've been using Google Lens to identify some plants recently, and it's amazing how it works. So straight away, thank you, Turbo Stream. You've given us actually a brilliant example of how we could be using AI right now to help us in our gardening. Google Lens identifies some plants. So you could be in a, I don't know, in a park or somewhere, and you see a plant that you really like. You want to identify it. So you use Google Lens to identify it, and then you go and buy that plant. So straight away, it's there, isn't it? There's an example of AI helping us out right now. And that's just one example. And this could be expanded to help us identify what certain weed is and how to tackle it. It can also help, I believe, help identify what's wrong with sick plants as well and tell you how to treat that particular plant as well. So, you know, it's quite amazing what's going on there. Richard says, Luddite, member of the organised bands of 19th century England, Hans Craftsman, who rioted for the destruction of the textile machinery that was displacing them. Yes, there we go. Thank you. That's a great example of how people were very afraid, quite rightly in some cases, of new technology. And I don't think as gardeners we should be Luddite about it. I think we need to accept it. It doesn't mean we have to use it, but we have to accept that there modern technology is coming along. It may be good, it may be bad. That's all I'm saying. Nicholas says, evening, Richard and all. Good evening to you. Nigel says, I have a DJI gimbal which holds my phone when filming. It can pan and track people. Yeah, I mean, that may not be AI, it might just be tracking, but it's an example of how this AI is developing and moving on quite amazing. Turbo Stream says, I've seen an increase in the AI results on Google in the last few weeks too. Yeah, I've noticed that. I think Google have incorporated AI to try and work out better results. Whether it works or not is open to debate. Idaho's joined, says hello, Richard and chat. Hello, Idaho. Hope you are well. We're talking about AI and gardening and whether AI can help in our garden. Richard Garden says, I use the Picture This app and it is wonderful. There's some really good apps for helping identify certain plants and things like that out at the moment. So it may not necessarily be AI, but it's coming a long way. Have a quick swig of that. So next, Google Lens is not strictly AI, says Digwell. It just compares your photo with every other photo held on Google. Yes, I use it daily, and it does identify diseases as long as someone has named their photo as such. But it's an example of how AI, you know, Google is starting to experiment with AI, and it's an example of how AI will, as it gets better and better, as it evolves, it's going to be make these search engines a lot easier. Tablet Stream says, I was Googling to see if the runner beans Lady Di from the supporters club were F1 or not. It didn't tell me. I don't think they are F1 if I remember. But don't quote me on that at the moment. So far, so you've said that you've used AI for identifying plants, or some of you have. Has anybody used AI in any other ways? Now, we could, in some ways, and I've set something up for this. So let's say, let's share this screen, shall we? Where is it? I think it's this one. So yes. So let's go to this. So ChatGPT is a AI website. You've probably heard of it. It's certainly doing the rounds. And I thought we could ask ChatGPT a few questions to see how good it is for gardening. So the question I thought I would ask it is, can you create a seed sowing timetable for 2025? I want to sow only edible plants to feed ourselves all year round and include successional sowing. So let's go see what that comes up with. It does sometimes take a few seconds, but it's coming up already. Have a quick look. So Digwell says Lady Di are heirloom beans. So I thought they were. I did think they were off the top of my head. I didn't think they were, what do you call it, at all. Anything on Instagram? Nothing yet. So what else is on? Scott says, I think AI could work with things like pests and disease detection and things like watering systems. I think you will see it in indoor gardening first, houseplants, etc. That's interesting. That's very interesting, isn't it? You know, indoor gardening, I didn't quite think of that, but I certainly think there's something that might be the way it goes. Can you ask ChatGPT, pull the weeds in the garden, put them in a bag, and add them to my compost heap? Yeah, I'd love it if it could do that. Need to put your location in it so it knows what climate, etc. That's a good point, actually. I did forget that. Thank you. My car hits the brakes if I get too close to the car in front and warns me if I put the signal on to change lanes if there is a car close by. Again, that technology, the technology on cars, this again may not be AI, but this is the way AI is going. Digwell says the more you add to ChatGPT, the more it will return. Add location, size of family. That's all very good. Yeah, that's all things that you are quite right, actually. But let's have a quick look at what it's done so far. So it says January, sow indoors, leeks and onions. There's a lot more, I would say. February, tomatoes, chilies and peppers and aubergines. March, and now we're going outdoors. Carrots, radishes, peas, and beetroot. Indoors, tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, lettuce. Sowing every 2 weeks. And in fact, it has started to include successional sowing. April, broad beans, spinach, chard, beetroot, peas, and carrots. Indoors, cucumbers, courgettes, and marrows. Outdoors in May, French beans, runner beans, sweet corn, pumpkins, and squash. Cucumbers and courgettes for indoors. You get a general idea of what it's doing. There's quite a bit there already. So I'm just going to remove that for a second. So that was a very quick example of what it can come up with. Very quick. as Digwell and everyone has said, add more information to get more to it. Beat me to it, Nigel, says Digwell. Richard, if you have a PC, not Mac, you can get free AI with Windows button and C. Didn't know that. Did not know that, but there you go. Idaho says, "Oh my gosh, that is amazing, isn't it? You've got an entire year of an entire year's plan already. Then, no, I would say there's more things that can be sown in like December. It only says herbs, but I agree. So let's fine tune this. Let's fine tune this and make it more. What's the word I'm looking for? More. I can't think of the word right now. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. So I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Digwell says, if I uploaded info on growing banana trees in a veggie pod enough times, ChatGPT would recommend it. That's one of the problems. That is one of the problems, but it is a technology. It does rely, and in fact, Digwell's gone on to say this, clever, yes, but only as good as the info it scalps. That is a very good point, but we're working on that. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. I want to add more seeds. What's the word I would be looking for? TurboStream, I did a year's plan from Garden Focused webpage for my location. Really, really useful. Yeah. I mean, Garden Focused has got a very good webpage for that and does come out with a good plan as well. Stuart says AI is only as good as a user. It's just like IT. You've got to know what you're doing. Absolutely is you've got to know what you're doing and use the right words, which is what's bugging me, because I want to extensive is the word I was looking for. That's the word, extensive. I saw Rebecca said precision, but no, extensive is the word. So let's come back to it. We do that right, make it more I'm in the UK South Coast and 2 in my family. So let's add a bit more and see what it comes back with. So there you go. Well, it's come up there. It's a much better list already, isn't it? Indoors, leeks, onions, salad leaves, broad beans that we could be sowing in January, February, tomatoes, chilies, aubergines, celery indoors, garlic outdoors. Even goes on to under fleeces or under cloches or fleece. Outdoors, carrots, radishes, peas, beetroot in March, spinach. Indoors, tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, etc., etc. And that's a whole year's worth there that's coming up with. So let's have a check on Instagram. Nothing going on over there. Yeah, the list is, and it's still going on, isn't it? It's still going on. We'll come back to that in just a second and see what it says. There was some comments that I missed. Digwell says, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. It's not about being for or against it. It's the fact that if we ignore it now, it would be like ignoring social media in the 2000s. It's going to become part of our lives, unfortunately. Digwell says, maybe add the soil type to the search. Good point. And if you've got a greenhouse as well, that might help and things like that. Beto says, if AI is so good, why doesn't YouTube know I'm looking for the Veg Grower podcast when I put it on? Maybe because it's not a mind reader. It's got to have the information first. Excuse me. Although if you're watching it every Sunday at 6, you would have thought it'll learn, wouldn't you? So you've got a point there. TurboStream says we will all be using AI even if we don't want to. There's many things we'll use it without our knowledge or consent, and that's kind of happening already. A lot of the chat bots on when you're looking for help on websites and things, it can be very the chatbots can be AI these days. But no, it says that looks like the old-fashioned teleprinter on the football scoreboards. It does come up a bit like that, doesn't it? Try 2 searches for the same thing. One being subservient, please, thank you, etc., and the other demand things, e.g., I need this info now. Compare the results. Yeah. I've always included, or I don't know if I did that just now, actually, trying to be polite, include please and thank yous, because if AI does become what's like Terminator, I want it to remember that I was polite to it. But there is people who've done tests on this, funny enough, and they have found that if you include please and thank yous, you actually get better results. So there. It will certainly reduce creativity in people. I agree with that. I do agree with that, but I also think it might help the creative people expand their creativity as well, because one of the things that AI is being used for in content is taking clips out of videos to make shorts, and it's doing that quite well. There still needs a creative person to make it, the original video, but the AI is doing a lot of the hard work, and that's only going to get more and more prevalent. Mine comes up as one of the top 20 searches for me. Excellent. A top 20 should be in a top 5. Anything on Instagram? Nothing quite over on Instagram. Let's have a quick look and see if that has finished, shall we? It has, and they've included things like crop rotation, successional sowing tips. December, there's a bit more herbs and salad leaves, broad beans and peas in November. October, garlic, broad beans, onion sets, peas. I think that is quite comprehensive. I'm sure there's absolutely more we could do to that as well. So I throw this back to you, and I'm going to play a video actually in a second from Digwell from last week. And but while we play that video, let's just answer this thing first. I once told Google Assistant to F off, and it apologized to me. I haven't used it again. Yeah, it does happen. But while I'm playing this video from Digwell that he sent me this week, I want you to think of a question we might be able to ask ChatGPT for something in the garden that we can sort of test it out. Something that we might use AI for in the garden. Get your thinking cap on while we have a look at this video.
On the show last week, Richard, Rob, and I think a few others asked me to show you my hydroponic systems. Well, this is the first one. This is the Quad Grow. It's in the front garden. There's 2 of them. One there, behind the veggie pod. Underneath the tank, and on top of the tank are 4 pots. Right, the pots themselves are full of a mix of clay balls and cocoa coir. You only ever see the cocoa coir, the clay balls sink a bit. Right, that's that bit. And out the bottom of each pot, there's a wick, a bit like a capillary mat. And that's it really. The wick soaks up the feed and the water in the tank, and keeps the compost nice and wet. And it certainly is nice and moist. And here we go, we get loads of Shirami, Meccano, Rebel Starfighters. And what I've done to the system, I've added these covers because they got cane supports, and I drilled holes in them so they can have drip feeders in. And what I've got in the centre of each one, maybe just see it there, there's a pump and a distribution manifold. And at the distribution manifold, 8 little hoses come out, and out the hoses there's 8 drippers. And if I take a dripper off, you probably see it's quite wet already actually. See, it's pumping all the time, look, but the dripper regulates the flow. So on days like today when it's sunny, the dripper drips, keeps the media moist. I've got to be careful, so I keep catching them on my legs when I walk through. And they are powered by couple of solar panels. Oh, well, one solar panel for each quad grow. And I've just put them up there for now because that's where the sun is. So looking over the bin, you see the actual setup. There we are. Right, that's the first one. Okay then, next up is the Letpot MP1 system. Very similar really. Got a tank of feed, water and feed. Probably very dirty in there, let's have a look. Yeah. Pump in there. The pump pumps up to the top tier there. Along the top tier where it feeds those chilies. It comes out of the top tier into the bottom tier where it feeds all these basils. Or is it basil? And any overflow drips back into the tank from that cross pipe there. Yeah. And it's powered by a battery pack. You can plug it into the mains. But I got a little battery pack. It might work. There we are. The pump's just cut in. And it's on a timer. Set the timer up with the Wi-Fi. I think I've got it running for 2 minutes every hour. Here we are then. So that is the Letpot MP1 system. Very productive. Right, next up out the front we have the Autopot Easy to Grow system, and there's 3 banks of 2 pots. And again, the pots are filled with a mix of cocoa coir and clay balls. I think it's 60-40 clay to coir. 2 pots sit on each platform, and each platform houses, at the end of that blue hose there, an aqua valve. And I'll show you how the aqua valve works in a minute. It's not just your basic toilet cistern where it keeps the water level in there. There's actually 2 valves on it. It floods the base of the pots and it won't let any more nutrient feed in, or water, until the tanks are dry underneath. Quite a clever system really. And the well, that's part of the feed system there, and there's the big tank with all the nutrients in it. In there! So that's that one. I've got 6 chilies in there at the moment, a couple of cayennes, Onivec, Cherry Bomb. Okay then, let's explain this valve a little bit better. Water flows in on the left hand side through the valve and past the yellow seal, the seat, up to a level of about 20 millimetres. The inner float rises and the outer float starts to rise. The water shuts off, the outer float rises, opens the air valve at the top there. Plants drink the water, water level drops, air is shut off, which locks the chamber sealed until it glugs out the bottom and opens the water valve again. Quite simple, but very, very effective. And last up, out the front, you can just about make them out in there, is a set of chili grows. That's 3 pots, and you can just make out the clay balls over there. Needs topping up a bit, actually the roots are showing, but it's doing all right. 3 paprikas in there. And all it is with those wicking system again, it just sits on a tank, houses 3 pots, and you fill it up. There's a hole in there and I fill it up. Only takes 1 watering can actually, 1 8-litre watering can. Quite small, so it needs topping up very frequently. Well, that's the front garden. Out the back. Okay, so it's not too sunny out here for you. Now I've got 2 of these. This is the Aqua Garden tower, or plant tower. I've had these for 5 or 6 years now. Now, to be honest, I would not recommend them for outdoor use because this stack of planter rings is supposed to rotate, but the bearing underneath there seized solid about 2 years ago, can't move it. I've taken it apart, can't move it. So what it is basically is a big tank with a pump in it. This one's powered by mains, but you can use the same battery pack as I used out the front garden with the Letpot MP1. So it's a tank full of water and nutrients, pump in the centre. The pump pumps up through a central column to this, I suppose you'd call it a spray head, into this little trough thingy with loads of holes in it, dribbles onto the pure cocoa coir chip. Now it's got to be chip. It's got to be chipped because ordinary cocoa coir won't work. It just clogs the drainage holes. Each one of these little partition hole thingies, what I'm going to call it, has got drainage holes in, which drips from one level to the next. So this one gets wet, the water goes down here, it feeds into there, and it feeds into there, and it goes down there, and it feeds onto this Corsican mint, which is delicious, by the way. A couple of timers. Isn't it 122? It's 1, 2, 2. So 1 is pump, 2 is twice a day, and the next 2 is for 2 minutes. So if I unplug the power, it will reset itself. Now I'll have to do this again at 9 o'clock tonight, because I have it on twice a day, 9 AM and 9 PM. If I have it on any other time, it cuts in about 4 o'clock in the blooming morning. So there we are. Let's plug back in, nip outside, and there you are. There's the head distributing the, well, you can see it's nutrient rich by the colour of the liquid, look. It drips into the little planter rings, down through one level to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And eventually it'll go drip, 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 and you'll hear it going back into the main tank. Clever system now. They cost a blooming fortune. I think they're over 500 quid each at the moment. Here we are, it's going back down already, hear it? Yeah, I got mine in a sale, 200 quid each. So that's the herb one. Exactly the same over here. In the corner, can't rotate it again, so I've only got strawberries planted in the front 3 of each clover leaf section, I suppose you want to call it. And there's the nutrient in there. Different colour nutrient in there. This has got the tomato feed in it, which is, well, it's colourless, so good for fruiting. Whereas the basil one is like a herbaceous feed, a bit more nitrogen in it, more nitrates. I think that's all of it, guys. Right, hope you enjoyed that one.
Thank you very much for that, Digwell. What a brilliant video to go against last week's topic. And it kind of plays into this week as well, because I do think AI is going to play a part in hydroponics and newer growing systems. By the way, you probably saw when Digwell was talking about Autopot, I put my discount code for Autopot down here below. If you are looking at buying an Autopot, please consider using this discount code. It's actually an affiliate, so you get 10%, I get 10%, but I'm not really interested in getting the 10% myself. I want to make savings for you guys. But if that is of interest to anyone, it is there. There was a few comments that came in. So Margaret has said, good site to read later. You can take your phone to a lawn and ask what is wrong with it. Ask it to redesign a space and identify plants you show it. Yes, it is amazing what is going on with modern tech, with AI. You know, you can literally design an entire garden with it. And we've only just really started to get into it, I feel. Ask AI to suggest a natural way to grow vegetables to stop slugs eating the plants. Natural slug control. Okay, good question. So, right. So, can you suggest a natural way to grow vegetables and tackle slug problems naturally, please? I'm going to include the please this time. Let's see what it comes up with, shall we? Lots of options already. So, soil health, composting, mulching, crop rotation, green manures, companion planting, marigolds, basil, nasturtiums, garlic and onions to reply carrot flies and other pests, and encouraging beneficial insects, ladybirds, hoverflies, and bees and pollinators. Natural slug control methods, hand picking. Go out in the evening or early morning with a torch and remove slugs by hand. You can dispose of them far from your garden and place them in a container for wildlife like hedgehogs. Barriers and traps, copper tape, eggshells, coffee grounds and sharp sand, beer traps, grapefruit halves. Natural predators, hedgehogs, frogs, toads, ducks. And then nematodes as well. Slug-resistant plants, lavender, rosemary, sage, and fennel. And then watering techniques, water in the morning, drip irrigation, slug-deterring plants, mint, fennel, or garlic. And then maintaining a balanced gardening ecosystem. So, did that answer that question well enough for you? Lots of options there. Just goes to show that there's a lot of things for it, a lot of options for it. That's awesome, Steve, and amazing setup. Anna Jones, where is the threat of blight currently in the UK? Let's ask it that. Where in the UK is the current threat of potato blight? Please. Well, let's let that out of the way and see what it comes up with. Searching. Oh, as of late August 24, there is significant threat of potato blight across various regions of the UK, particularly due to the wet, humid weather conditions that have prevailed. The Blight Watcher alert system, which monitors blight condition, has issued red alerts in several key potato grown, including Lincolnshire, Yorkshire, Lancashire in England, as well as Forfar and Ayr in Scotland and parts of Wales. These regions are currently experiencing conditions that are highly conducive to the spread of late blight, especially as the growing season progresses towards its end. The risk is exacerbated by frequent rain, which can wash zoospores into the soil, potentially leading to tuber infections. Blah, 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 blah. But I think that kind of answers the question. Oh, sorry, you didn't see it, did you? You didn't see it, did you? Sorry. It's there. I'll leave it on the screen for a minute. Thanks for sharing, Steve. Digwell says, have a look at the Blight Spy website for that. All the search did is download an existing site. You would get the same results in Google without AI. Yeah, I mean, this is what we're trying out and finding, isn't it? Good evening, all, says Rob. Thank you very much. Hope you are well. Lovely to see you. And Turbo Stream says, great video. Indeed. Digwell says, it did not use AI powers to scalp the info and pot it all together. Too right. It was a little bit like just non-AI, wasn't it? Just found the website. Lots of info there, but I can't help thinking it's just copied existing. Yeah. I asked Alexa last Sunday how to please a woman. She is still talking. Oh, dearie me. Digger says, Richard, I think that blight stuff is totally wrong. It could well be. I will post a current threat on the Facebook page. Yeah, I mean, it did say it was searching the latest data as of August 2024, which is a little bit surprised about because I thought it only went back to 2022. And by the way, nobody put that up. By the way, that word, I've got to remember to stop saying it, haven't I? Let's get rid of that. I'm sure. So let's remove that. So anything else that we could use AI for? Richard Golding says, ask AI to make a new veg podcast image. Well, actually, that's a point that I forgot to mention. At the beginning of this live stream, I always have that intro music video thing. That's there just because it gives people time to get to the live stream when the notifications goes live. Always annoys me when the notification goes live, you join in and they're already into the show. So I put that there to give people time to join the show. But I've got to change it soon because copyright infringement things. So there may well soon be a new theme tune. IA can make that. But let's see. Let's try that. I did say, can you create a new logo for the Veg Grower podcast, please? Let's see what it comes back with. Oh, it's doing something. Let's check. You can actually see it. Yes, you can. Oh, I quite like that, actually. I quite like that a lot. Although I don't like that bit there, the Veg Grower podcast. I quite like that. I've got to say. I'll leave that on there for a little bit longer. Anna Jones just checked out the Blight Spy website. Glad to help, and thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, please do give us a thumbs up, a like, a follow, and a subscribe to let us know you are enjoying it. Let the algorithms work and get us found by more people. Over on Instagram, Jamie's a little allotment and my hillside garden both joined in. So let's get rid of that. So Blight Watch has been replaced by Blight Spy, gives a 48-hour forecast based on Houghton criteria. So actually, that's a good point, because AI said where Blight was reported, not where it's forecast. I wonder if that's a difference in the results. That's why I'm talking out loud here, of course. I could be wrong. David Stream says, I also think that we are losing the ability to use our brains to find out this stuff. Well, it used to be we would go to a library or something, wasn't it, to find this stuff out and see what happens. Stuart says you should ask it to review the latest podcast. I don't think it will do that, but we'll ask. Have a look at my pick on the Facebook page. On the Facebook page. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. This is, as soon as I open it up, there you go. That is what Digwell's talking about. So the red areas are up, full Houghton alert. Yellows are near miss, and the green is no alert. But that's a forecast. I'm wondering if that's the difference, is that ChatGPT was using where it's reported and not where it's forecast. I don't know. I think the way you ask a question on searches can influence the results. Could be true. Has anybody got anything else that we could ask ChatGPT for gardening? How we could use it how we could use AI, or anybody got any other thoughts on how we could use AI in gardening? I think what we've already proven is that there's some really interesting results with this. Coming up with a seed timetable, coming up with, I mean, it probably could come up with recipe. Well, we know it does, and things like that. Anna Jones, quite like the logo, but the one you already have is better. Yeah, I have to agree. I would agree. Actually, I certain things I didn't like for it, but hey ho. The pick was for 24th of August onwards, so old data. No need for me to spray this week. So 24th of August was yesterday. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Again, it's a forecast, though, is the only thing I would say. Meadows, ask AI the best way to use AI. Indeed. Could you ask it to create a watering schedule based? Oh, good one there. So, can you create a watering schedule for my vegetable garden in Littlehampton, UK, based on last year's weather? Let's just correct these quickly. Let's see what it comes back with. Just check that I'm actually sharing it and see what. So it has come up with obviously key factors to consider. So spring, March to May, water once or twice a week in March, depending on rainfall. Focus on keeping the soil consistently moist, especially if you're planting early crops like peas or lettuce. Water early in the morning. April, May, increase to 2-3 times per week as temperature rises. Ensure the soil remains moist but not waterlogged. Summer, June, water 3 to 4 times per week, especially during warm spells. mulching as well. And July to August, water daily if the summer is hot and dry, particularly for thirsty crops like tomatoes, cucumbers and beans. Early morning or late evening is watering is best to reduce evaporation. September, reduce watering 2 to 3 times per week as temperature begins to drop. And then October to November, gradually reduce watering as the weather cools. And then into December to February, minimal watering is required, plus a few more additional tips. So did I? Then Digwell says, did I include the word please? So let's copy that. Let's copy that and ask it again with the word please and see what happens. Oh, it's already looking like it's got different results. We'll just give that a minute to work it out. Digwell says, can you include the word please? Stuart Jackson, can it tell us when is the best time to harvest salad leaves or tomatoes, etc.? Please. We'll ask that. We'll ask that. Let's see what it comes. See, really, including that word please looks like it's given us a better answer. Summary of last year's weather: rainfall, winter, high rainfall, especially November, December, with all the details. Spring, May to May, dry up with rainfall decreasing, blah blah blah. So it's already looked at the weather, and then watering schedule. Pretty much the same. Pretty much the same, although not in as much detail, does it? It hasn't quite added as much detail to what we had earlier, I don't think, anyway. So interesting. So far, all it has done is to quickly tell the user general information that could be found in a good gardening book. That is true, isn't it? That is true. And I think that's the trouble with it, where it is at the moment. And what we're doing today is that all it's really doing is regurgitating information in a way that I think it's easier for us to understand. Try the same query on Microsoft Copilot. Yeah, I'm not from. That needs signing up and stuff, doesn't it? Which I can't really do during the live stuff. I could play a video, couldn't I? Actually, but Stuart Jackson was going to ask this question: when is the best time to harvest? Salad leaves and tomatoes. Harvest salad leaves, lettuce, spinach when they're 10 to 15 centimeters long. Cut and come again for continuous morning harvest. Colour and firmness for tomatoes, fine ripened, counter ripened, and so on, and so on. A lot of interesting stuff there, isn't there? A lot of interesting answers. I've read that one. I'll do 2, but the results will be over several comments. Please do. Yeah, please do. And I think that'll be very interesting. Ask the AI how it thinks AI will help gardening. Good question there. How do you think AI will help gardening in the future? AI has the potential to significantly transform gardening in the future. Personalized garden planning, climate adaptation, plant selection, smart irrigation systems, water efficiency, automated systems, pest and disease management, early detection and natural solutions, soil health monitoring, natural management, nutrient management, and soil sensors. Crop rotation and succession planning, optimized planning sequences, robotics in gardening, which is something I said at the beginning, automated weeding and harvest assistance, educational tools, virtual garden assistance and community sharing, sustainability and carbon footprint reduction, eco-friendly practices and carbon monitoring, biodiversity, pollinator support, wildlife habitat. And in conclusion, AI will likely play a crucial role in making gardening more accessible, sustainable, and productive. By combining data-driven insights with advanced technology like robotics and smart sensors, AI can help all gardening of all skill levels achieve better results. Oh, that's a lot of interesting stuff there, isn't it? Isn't it? So let's get rid of that. When to harvest green? When to harvest green when ripe tomatoes? When to harvest green when ripe tomatoes? Not what's that? AI is not for general Google searches. It's for creating, designing, etc. Yeah, I think that's the key thing. It's think of Jarvis in Iron Man. It's bouncing ideas off and getting answers back that might work and not. Okay, AI was Jarvis was much more advanced in Iron Man, but that's the general idea. It's not so much Google searching; it's more creating, designing, and bouncing ideas off. I did like the sewing timeline for a specific location. That's the kind of thing that is probably a bit more tailored, isn't it? I don't think you can necessarily get that from Google search, that sort of tailored, but I think it does answer or get there in that regards. Right. Turbo, I can see AI helping a big commercial grower greenhouse tomatoes with scheduled watering and feeding and controlling automatic systems. I agree. It's kind of already there, isn't it? It's automated at the moment, but AI, I think, is going to make it a little bit more niche and more fine-tuned if it goes. So, Digwell, query, can you suggest a description for a video featuring harvesting onions, please? This is on Copilot. Copilot says, join us in the garden as we dive into the rewarding process of harvesting your onions. In this video, we'll guide you through each step to ensure that you get the best yield from your onion crops. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or beginner, these tips will help you enjoy a bountiful onion harvest. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gardening tips. So what Digwell's done is asked Copilot this question, and he's going to be sharing the results with us of what he gets in reply. And so far, this is what we've got. And ChatGPT now has come up with, join us in the fields as we take you through a fascinating process of harvesting onions. Watch as skilled farmers carefully pull mature onions from the rich soil, showcasing the hard work and precision that goes into gathering this essential kitchen staple from the first pull to the final collection. Witness a journey of onions from farm to table. Interesting. TurboStream thought Copilot was a sat-nav app. And Digwell says, whether you're a gardening enthusiast or simply curious about where your food comes from, this video offers a close-up look at the art of onion harvesting. It's interesting, isn't it? Wonder what would come up if you told it you just have got an allotment and asked it to design a plot, only given the overall plot dimensions. Should we try that? Should we try that quickly? I've got a couple of videos to go through, but let's try that. I have a new allotment. It's 250 square meters and faces south in the south coast in Littlehampton. Being precise with all the details. The soil is clay. Can you design this plot for me, please? I want to grow veg organically. So let's see what it comes up with. I hope everyone's enjoying this, because I think this is quite an interesting way of looking at AI with our gardening aspect. If you're enjoying it, then please do give us a like. Please do give us a thumbs up, a follow, and a subscribe. Give that in there now. So let's see what it's come up with. Designing an organic vegetable garden on a 250 square meter south-based allotment in Littlehampton with clay soil offers great potential for growing a wide range of vegetables. Garden layout, soil prep, improving add organic matter and mulching. Garden zones, zone 1, raised beds, 150 square meters. Oh, apparently I've hit the limit for ChatGPT-4, so the answers won't be as good now, but you get the idea. Zone 1, raised beds. Zone 2, perennial planting area, 50 square meters, asparagus, rhubarb, artichokes. Zone 3, polytunnel and greenhouse, 20 square meters. Zone 4, composting area, 10 square meters. That's very generous, isn't it? Although might be needed. Paths and access, water access, organic growing practices. It comes up with a planting plan as well. So there we go. There we go. That's pretty pretty interesting, isn't it? It's pretty interesting that it's done all that. Idaho's found that interesting. Beddoes always thought onions came from Tesco's. Well, there you go. There you go. This is like an edition of Tomorrow's World. It really is, actually, because I do think this is what we're going to be seeing more and more in the future. Can AI make a podcast that sounds like Richard Suggett? It can. Well, if it has a recording of my voice, I think it can. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Quite a good response, to be fair, isn't it? I was quite impressed with what it came out with, although it still doesn't take anything away. Darren Bale has joined over on Instagram. Andrew Norris, evening all. I've missed a few weeks, but glad to have found you again. Lovely to see you, Andrew. Hope you are well. Idaho says, wow. That's the sort of thing AI is made for, isn't it just? Isn't it just? I think that is just the answer we were looking for as well. Stuart says, I really didn't think by asking all these questions we would get some great tip, but that's why I listen to the live show and the podcast, so I don't have to do it. Thanks, Richard. I mean, as I said, I come back to the fact that I do think that AI is going to be playing a key part in the future of our gardening plans. But hey ho, hey ho. And TurboStream is impressed with the generating of the results and the speed. I've got to say, I think we've only really scratched the surface tonight with it as well. And right, as I said, I've got a couple of videos I need to show you as well. So first of all, the video, the cook along. You challenged me or set the cook along for last week to create a stuffed peppers. So I've got something for you. So this week's recipe, you wanted me to cook some stuffed peppers. We gathered the ingredients: peppers, feta, onions, tomatoes, chicken mince, and a whole wide range of other ingredients as well. First things we did was we sweated down the onions until they were nice and soft, just in a little bit of olive oil. We also added a little bit of garlic. Once they were soft, we chucked in the chicken mince. We're using chicken mince for this. And we cooked that until it was nice and brown. Then once again, I threw in some tomatoes, skin on, as I said last week. We did chop some of the larger ones up. And we just cooked that until it created a bit of a nice liquid material. And then we added in some chopped mint, some chopped sage, and some cinnamon, just to add a bit of seasoning. Cooked it for a little bit longer. Then we took it off the heat and threw in some crumbled feta. Gave it a good stir and pulled it to one side while we chopped the tops of the peppers. Once that was ready to go, we then stuffed the peppers with some of the mince and the soup material, tomato soup material, until they were all ready to go. And then we took those and put them in the oven for about 20 minutes on gas mark 4. Now, let's find out what it tasted like. Indeed. Let's find out what it tastes like. So I've got one here. As you can see, it's stuffed with that chicken mince stuff. This is actually a hot pepper. I discovered when I was chopping or taking the seeds out, it's a hot pepper. So this is going to end up being, the taste test is going to be rather interesting, because I think I'm going to end up being very hot. Oh, that was lovely. That is lovely. I'm not going to eat it all on camera tonight because, as I said, I'm waiting for the hot pepper to start boiling in my head, in my mouth. We'll see what happens. I've got to say, it tastes very, very nice, though. We've got several more that we're going to eat as well. I've got to say, I do like when you set these cooking things for the live show now. Actually, my wife and I are really enjoying them. So, seed sew along is not going to happen. We're going to do the cook alongs instead, or cook something up. Right, Digwell says I have a 30-meter assault course to sweat my onions down. Yeah, good one. Onions have featured quite a bit, haven't they? I know. I'm going to keep my notebook in case the internet electricity goes down. However, the internet electricity grid goes down. My timeline for sowing veg might not be the top of my mind. Thing is, as gardeners, as we do this every year, what we tend to do is we gain experience and we gain knowledge. So, and that's up here. So if the grid does go down, everything up here cannot be taken from us, can it? Or can it? Who knows? Stuart Jackson says, "You brave boy live show." Yeah, I know. It's actually not as hot. I think it must have been the seeds or something. Benno says, "Are your eyes watering yet?" No, not at all. Great stuff. Looks tasty. I've not managed to grow decent sized peppers yet. It's the first year I've grown them to that sort of size. Normally, they're still relatively decent, but not that decent size. Turbo Stream says, "I watched a video today about just that. He kept a few books in case we got unplugged from the modern world." Fantastic. Stuart says, "After hot peppers this week, how about Bombay potatoes for next week?" Bombay potatoes for next week. Yep, that's a suggestion. Everybody happy with Bombay potatoes? My first load of onion recipes is now live. So I thought what we might start doing as another feature, as we said, we're sort of not doing the sew-alongs anymore. We're going to do these cook-alongs. We can always do seed sowing it another day or something. But what I thought we'll do is also invite you to send in photos of meals you've cooked with stuff that you have harvested from your allotment or your garden as well. I thought that might make another interesting feature because we got the photos, we've got the harvest photos, and also your recipes. And if you want to share the recipe with us as well, then please do feel free to do that too. Turbo Stream says, "Has anybody noticed this show is all AI?" No, I've not noticed that at all. I've got to say, this doesn't taste as hot as it did when I was preparing it earlier. This is weird. I'm going to try another bite just to see if it was, well, perhaps it was just the seeds that were hot. Oh, no. Now it comes. Yep, that's hot. There we go. Eyes are streaming. Eyes are watering. I'm putting it at the top of my nose. There we go. Oh, that was good. That was good. I enjoyed that. Well, I was thinking we're missing a bit of heat on that. They were meant to be hot ones. So let's have a quick check on Instagram. Nothing's going on over there. It's definitely a show. Definitely is not AI. It's no, I don't think AI would react to this. Starting to blush. Put a video on and drink plenty of milk. You know what? I forgot to buy some milk when I popped out earlier, so we're limited on our milk anyway. That was good. I can't be doing with hot chili or peppers. No. So what about sweet peppers though? Because that works just as great with sweet peppers. I only ended up doing a hot pepper because I didn't realize there were hot peppers, in all honesty, but sweet peppers just as good. Young gravy looks amazing, and being a Yorkshire bloke, I like my gravy. Talking about Digwell's video there from Scott. Yes, Richard is a robot. Yeah, I'm a robot. Yeah. Oh, right. Let's have a look at your. Oh, which one is it? Your photos. Let's have a look at your photos quickly because I think this is a good time while I try and recover from this. So first of all, Anne harvested these flowers today. She did say it's not veg, but she still harvested them from the allotment. Look fantastic, lovely colours on those, aren't they? Next, Nathan's chilies are looking hot. Yeah, we all know about hot chilies, don't we? I think these are a particularly hot variety of chilies there, from what I've read. But look fantastic, though. They really do look good looking chilies. Steve is modelling the latest fashion on the catwalk, which is wearing vegetables around your neck in the shape or with a nice little face added to them. I can see this being the hottest thing next year. Jokes aside, I think this is a I've forgotten the type of squash off the top of my head now, but it's a well-known type of squash, a bit like a courgette or marrow, and grown very, very well. It's going to annoy me that type. Scott has been painting his shed, as you can see here. He's gone from one side where you can still see the wood to this bluey greeny colour, which looks fantastic. There's a completed video or completed photo in the Facebook group if you are interested. Sarah won second place with this load of vegetables, which she's done very, very well. First place was somebody who pretty much wins every year, so she's done very, very well with that. I think this was in her local show as well. Beetroot, potatoes, tomatoes, very, very well done, I have to say. Stuart's chili in his veggie pod. Saying about chilies again, isn't there? Grown very, very well, I have to say. Looks fantastic once again. Veggie pod, cannot underestimate how good a veggie pod is for growing food. Now, Gary has been busy pricking out and sowing all these seeds. I can't remember if I did this last year, actually, but very, very busy. Lots and lots of seeds, as you can see there, and it has resulted fantastically. So please do keep sharing your photos. You can post them in our Facebook group. You can send to me via social media or email to me, richard@veggrowerpodcast.co.uk. richard@veggrowerpodcast.co.uk. I have got some more photos. Let's just have a quick check on Instagram. Nothing going on there. Nicholas says, really sorry, I got a migraine come on. I can't focus. Go take care of yourself. I know what it's like getting a migraine. Go and take care of yourself. We will be back again next Sunday at 6. Nicola, take care. Turbo Stream, my one squash that germinated hasn't even flowered. I've had a lot of trouble with squashes, as you know. No courgettes, no pumpkins. The plants are holding on in there. They are flowering, but we're just not getting anything. And I think it's going to be one of these weeks one of these years where no of that is going to come to fruition. Danger, Will Robinson. What's Will Robinson? Can you explain that one to me, please? I like sweet peppers, says Turbo Stream. Just avoid all spicy food. Even black pepper is too hot. Crikey, you are sensitive. I put a picture up the other day of my Szechuan pepper, which is very, very nearly ready for picking, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. Cook along for next week. Vada Pub, aka Bombay Burger. They are lovely. Ooh, send me a link. That sounds interesting. That sounds very, very interesting. And Rob says to Nicola, hope it goes away soon. We've all been there. Stuart says, I only end up with one butternut squash, but even that is very small. Unfortunately, this year, everyone has been having that trouble. And it's just, or a lot of people have, I should say. It's just been so unfortunate and very, very challenging, I'm afraid. Whereas Rob never had so many courgettes this year. You lucky, lucky, lucky person. I've not had a single courgette. And I've grown both at home and on the allotment. Just nothing. Nothing, nothing. I'm very, very, very upset. Cabbages, cauliflower, brassicas, turnips, broccoli. Fantastic. Good results. Potatoes have also been good as well. Courgettes, or squashes and beans, failure, absolute failure. Hey, this happens sometimes though, doesn't it? Bedo says, found a great place to bake sausages. Should I send you a link? Yes, please. Yes, please. I'd love to give that a try. So another collection of photos that we've received this week is about the Your Harvest selection. And Nigel, he's been harvesting his onions. This variety is Kelsey, which are huge, absolutely huge varieties. Were these overwintered or spring planted, Nigel? Please do fill us in. But that's not the only onions he's harvested. Got this one, which is Elster. Looks fantastic as well. And we've got Vento, which also look fantastic. And then the final one, Long Red Florence, also look fantastic. I'm guessing these weren't overwintered, thinking about it. They were sown winter and grown on. Really, really very, very good. Lots of lovely onions amongst it. I'm definitely now a fan of growing from seed. Right, where were we with that? Dan Brofer, it's 2 a.m. here, and I've been putting your stream on the background while studying for a while now. Love your stream, bro. Thank you very much, Dan Brofer. Lovely to have you come along. Whereabouts in the world are you? Rob says, must have had at least 50 courgettes. You lucky sod. Absolutely lucky person. You must be, a few people have had courgettes, but we've just had none. French beans and parsnips failed this year, but loads of courgettes. We've done all right. I haven't harvested my parsnips, but we've done all right with those. Zero butternut squash this year for Digwell. Bad seed from 3 unrelated suppliers, unless they all buy from the same guy in Turkey. I don't know. Turbo Stream, last year was bad for beans, not one. This year was good beans year, along with soft fruit and cauliflower. Soft fruit has been really good this year. I'm just waiting for my grapes to be ready because I've got loads of grapes. Rob says, I watched Muddy Boots video yesterday. Great harvest. Kelsey, grown on plants, all others grown from seed late December and January. Yeah, that's what I thought. Digwell says, surely all onions are sown in winter, January to March, unless you're doing the overwintered ones, which you'll be sowing about now or putting the sets out in October. That's the point I was getting at. Scott says, well, them onions are fantastic. I grew some decent ones this year from seed, but nothing close to that size. I will only grow from seed now on. I'm starting to go down that same route. I'm going to be comparing seed and sets next year, but I'm just going down that same route. Danbro I'm Singaporean. Oh, wow, fantastic. Lovely part of the world. Never been there, but I've seen enough of it. A lovely part of the world. Do you grow your own veg? Rob says, not a very good year for my potatoes. Like, I've had a great year for potatoes. Absolutely brilliant year for potatoes. Turbo Stream says, I left my courgettes to grow into marrows for a change. The sweet corn was going well till the badgers trashed a lot. Unfortunately, that does happen. Strong winds this week. I'm worried about my sweet corn after all these winds this week. But hopefully, fingers crossed, that's not going to be a problem. Fingers crossed. But it is a concern, isn't it? We don't get so much badgers, but we do get strong winds. Time for that. Right, I've got one more video to show you, which was the challenge as well. So we're going to be cooking Bombay potatoes next week. But the mission, this might be a mission failure, believe it or not. And you'll see why. All right, so just a very quick video because I'm not sure if this is mission passed or failed. So here we've got sea kale, type of sea cabbage that does grow all over the place here. And as you can see, so this is the mountain as it comes in. It's high tide at the moment, which means as well. It means that we can't see the Marsh Samphire because it's just So it occurred to me, you probably couldn't hear what I was saying in that video. I didn't play it back, in all honesty. The weather, the wind was blowy down on the beach. But so the mission was to go and find the marsh samphire that I spoke about last week and other things that we can harvest from the coast. And I showed you their sea kale or sea cabbage, depending on what you want to call it. Unfortunately, it was high tide. So when that tide drops, that is where the marsh samphire that we get can be found. When it drops, it's sandy. But yeah, that's where the marsh samphire is. Whether that's mission failed or mission accomplished, that is up to you. Completely up to you. Completely up to you. Your decision. Plus, don't forget, we need a challenge for next week as well. Rob says we got 5 badger sets on our site. On my old allotment, we did have badgers. I grew my sweet corn in a huge wooden box, and that worked because I was the envy of everyone because I could grow sweet corn in it. It's about putting that barrier up to stop the badgers getting to your sweet corn. The trouble with badgers, I think they're like mini bears. They are very aggressive and they're very strong. So they can get through even tough setup. That's why the wooden box worked. Turbo Stream, I won't bother with sweet corn again. I don't really eat it. I only grew the seeds were in the Supporters Club pack. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I can't say much. If you don't eat it, there's not much point in growing it, is there? Digwell is coming up with some Singaporean language, and Nigel says he will be there in November. But Dan Brofor, I'll be taking my leave now. Sorry for leaving this early, but thank you so much for the stream, man. Good night. Thanks so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Good night. And that was a wind fail. Definitely couldn't hear a thing. Yeah, sorry for that. Sorry. I didn't play it back. I should have done. Otherwise, I would have done that. Most people use Chinese in Singapore, use Chinese and English. I did not know that, actually. It's very interesting. Have a nice day, all. Thank you. Stuart says, for me, as you went out in the wind, so yes, I think you completed the mission. Yeah, it's been windy all week. That's the trouble. I tried doing it when it was less. Well, I was trying to wait for the wind to die down. The only time it died down was yesterday, but we had heavy winds, so I couldn't really do it. Heavy rain, sorry, yesterday. So I left it till today as long as I could, but wind, sorry. Badgers can climb, so you can make your boards high and straight. They can't get hold. They can climb, they can dig. As I said, they're like mini bears, and definitely something that is a challenge. Turbo Stream says we have a big badger set on our plot too, protected by law. Badgers are all protected by law, I believe. But my thoughts. I don't ever believe in disturbing nature anyway. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. We just got to work with it, is what I'm saying. Digwell says that was the best video ever, as Richard was quiet. Even better than your own videos, Digwell. Yes, they are talking about the protection. Our council have tried to fence a path for them, trying to keep them off the plots. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing animals. They really are. Very interesting about the samphire. I've never seen it before. I will try and get a photo of it this week to show you what it is all about, but as I couldn't do it in that video. The sweet corn grew brilliantly and would have produced lovely corn. Considering I directly sowed and did nothing, I was disappointed the badgers got it. See, I see this as an opportunity to learn on how we can battle it next year. How can you keep the badgers off your sweet corn? And I think the only way to really keep them off is physical barriers. I don't know of any repellents that badgers don't like. Might be something. Might be a herb that they don't like. But I think barriers are probably the best way. And I know you sort of said you don't eat sweet corn, but this might be an opportunity to try different ways of keeping badgers off in the future. Organically, of course, in a way that doesn't mean they get harmed or anything. Right, we have got just under 10 minutes to go for tonight's live stream. I think we've covered the AI topic. I think anybody got anything they want to add to AI? We've been talking quite a bit about our veg this week. We're going to be growing or doing Bombay potatoes next week. And I need a mission. I need a challenge, something you can set for me to do. Anything like that. Any ideas are always good. And I will try and go and get that marsh samphire in a video or something like that again this week for you. Now, as I said, we've got an extra day off work tomorrow. No work tomorrow. We're off. We're taking a trip out, going for a picnic to Knepp Estate, which is a rewilding area. It's got a very old remains of what looks like a castle, but it wasn't a castle. It's more of a folly, I think it was. It's got remains on it. But what's interesting about the area, it's quite well known for its rewilding, where they've tried to reintroduce native wildlife, and they've got storks, they've got wild boar, deer, of course. I don't think there's any bears or anything there, but we're going there tomorrow. But I bring this up because they've also got a kitchen garden I'm looking forward to having a look at tomorrow as well. I love having a good look at kitchen gardens, as you know, one of my favourite things to do. After touching the chili, I've touched my nose and it's all sort of burning here. Rob says, can you get them to get AI to come and weed my plot? Well, I don't, as I said, I think they're going to be robots that use AI to weed your plot. I don't think it's far away. It's not worth building badger-proof fencing. They would trash that too. I might try growing at home next year. It's an idea, isn't it? It's a good idea. Scott says, feed a mashed potato instead. Bodger loves mashed potato. Bodger and Badger, an old kids' TV show. Yeah, that might work. Beat me to it, says Digwell. Turbo Stream, rub chili paste on the kernel leaves. And Digwell also says, badgers hate strong smells, especially chilies. So perhaps chilies, some chili paste, chili powder, that might be enough to keep the badgers away. Or chili smells. Wonder what else they don't like. Could strong smelling herbs like lavender or rosemary work as well? Has anyone had any experience with that? I'm getting, in the last few minutes, a bit of interesting development here, isn't there? Would anything like that, does anybody have any thoughts on things that can keep badgers away? Digwell says, a word to the wise, wash your hands before going for a pee. Been there, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware of that. I'd even thought of that, but you know how it is. Sometimes you just can't wash your hands and see what happens, and see what you touch things on your face without realizing. Eyes particularly can be a problem, can't it? Turbo Stream, I hate chilies too. There you go. There you go. You and Badger hate chilies. It might work. We even had a badger in our back garden. Lucky you. I love badgers. I haven't seen a badger for a while now, actually, a live one anyway. Where I grew up, I used to see them all the time. Is Turbo a badger? Good question. Is Turbo a badger? I'm an AI bot, Digwell, says Turbo Stream. Are you an AI badger? Are you an AI badger? That's the question. That's the question. But yeah, I'd love to know if anybody has got any ideas or suggestions on how to keep badgers away from your sweet corn or anything. As I said, the only thing that worked for me was putting them into a large cardboard wooden box. Sorry, that it was about 3 foot tall. This box, and it worked really, really well. Yeah. Dog was not so happy with it. Talk of what the badger in the garden. I don't get that actually. Grow Gary Grow has joined over on Instagram. Yeah, my dog wouldn't be always not happy with hedgehogs in the garden, even though I love them. Money Rich says, I remember the days of not washing my hands after using creosote. Apparently, I thought creosote was completely banned, but apparently it's still available in certain places. I thought it was completely banned, but it's due to be completely banned next year. I did not know that. I know it's creosote substitute, but I don't think it's the same. My home lawn was trashed by badgers too. Had to completely reseed it. Yeah, again, badgers, as I said, they're like mini bears. They do cause damage, and they are strong, aggressive animals. I mean, we've been lucky here. We've not had badgers here, but it could happen. Simply Seed UK has joined over on Instagram as well. Welcome along. Hope you are well. We've been talking about AI and gardening. We're coming up to the last closing bits of the show, and we're just finishing off with any tips on keeping badgers off TurboStream's sweet corn. I've still got half a can of original creosote left. Love the smell. I think you might have to get rid of it soon by law. So don't tell anybody else that is all I'm going to say on that. Still got half a can of it left. Fantastic. Where else could you talk about AI, badgers, and hot chilies in the same hour? This is why I love this show. Well, this is why I like this show. Sorry, this live show. Thank you to everyone. We never know where the conversation's going to go, isn't it? I let you guys work your magic to try and do that. See, Scott says human hair apparently works to deter badgers. There we go. So, if you're friends with a hairdresser, grab some hair and put that around your sweet corn. That might work. Grow Gary Grow says, evening all, have company, so not able to join properly, but just wanted to check in and say hi. Thank you so much, Gary. We shared your photo earlier, funnily enough. Hope you are well. Digwell says, speaking of dislikes, coriander. Turns out those who like it are mutants. Yes, I read this. The gene are an added letter which is not found on DNA samples dating back thousands of years. A modern thing. Yeah, I'm a mutant because I like coriander. It doesn't taste like soap, but it is a mutant gene that makes you like coriander. People who don't like coriander are original, I guess. Then Digwell says that's me stuffed with the hair. So true. Do I need to get rid of my DDT then? Yeah, I think so. Don't tell anybody again you've got that either. I'm struggling with that prevention, Scott, says Nigel. Hairdresser. I have a word for your hair. Or shaving as well. I wonder if shaving, that would work. Turbo Stream says, I lied about my can of creosote. Not here, Gov. Honest. Absolutely. That wouldn't help me. I am mostly bald. But do you shave? Do you shave? And Idaho says, I like coriander. So do I. But that means we are a mutant. Well, here we are. It is 7:30. It's time to wrap up this show and get out of it. Before we go, Digwell does finish off by saying it is illegal to store any homemade pesticide, herbicide, etc. Technically, it's illegal to use them as well and recommend them unless you know it has been proven. Hargrave Gas says, thanks for another great chat. Wasn't sure how it would work discussing AI, but we've had a great 90 minutes. See you all next week. Got to admit, I was in the same, but I thought we could do something with it, and I think we did. I'll be interested to know if anybody's going to be using AI in the future after seeing what we could do. Anyway, that's a discussion for next time. If anybody's got any photos or videos for using AI over this next week, please do send them in. We will be in next Sunday at 6 p.m. London time. Lots of stuff coming out during the week as well. Thanks so much for joining us, and take care for the next week. Enjoy your garden. All the best. Bye-bye.